So this is a standard Ibanez tube screamer, and we're just going to quickly go through how to measure the current draw of this. You can do this the same way for pretty much any pedal, just making sure that your actual DC power supply is giving enough current in the first place. Usually it's specified on most power supplies from Voodoo Labs and Chiox and the other popular brands. Chiox or Seox. I've also seen Paul from Chiox state that he tends to sort of over-engineer the current supply for most of his power supplies. So they'll usually say 100 or 200 milliamps or 300 or 400. But you can actually pull a little bit over that for most of the taps, which is pretty cool because some pedals tend to draw maybe like 100, 120, 130 for like some of the older Boss reverb pedals and some of the digital electro harmonics pedals as well. It actually can be a bit dicey sometimes as well. For example, the electro harmonics Good Vibes Univibe, it will run off a lower current, but it won't sound the same. I guess it's to do with the photocell or something, but you definitely need to power that one right. I think even off my 300 milliamp taps, it didn't sound the same as just using the provided power supply that you get with the pedal. Seemed to make it sound how it was supposed to. Anyway, this is going to be fine for the tube screamer. So obviously the pedal doesn't, actually in this case it does turn on. Some pedals won't turn on until you plug the jack in, basically. Here's a good example. Boss SD1. So almost all Boss pedals, apart from some of the newer, some of the digital Boss pedals will turn on. That's coming on fine. Anyway, we'll take the current draw of the TS9. So we've got our supply, and any cheapo multimeter will work just fine. You want to set it to milliamp current. Let's go 200. And there's no wrong way to connect the leads in this case when you're measuring current. So what I've done, basically got a daisy chain and I've cut that open just so I've opened up the positive lead there, and I'm going to connect the multimeter across to bridge that, and that's going to be measuring the current flowing through. Try not to touch those together or you could short your supply, although in this case it shouldn't be a problem. You might just get a false reading. So I'm going to take that and connect it to the daisy chain like so, and then the first sort of tap in the chain, put that in the tube screamer, and there we've got 5 milliamps hovering around there. It shouldn't change whether you change the settings on the pedal or turn it on and off. In this case it actually does, so you can see it's adding that 0.4 milliamps for the LED. But yeah, simple as that basically. You could do it on the negative, it would be just the same in measuring the current. You're basically just bridging it with the multimeter so that current can flow through the multimeter and take the measurement for you. Second thing I wanted to do was just go through, you can do the same thing with a battery. So instead of doing it that way, what we can do, if you don't have a normal DC power supply, just connect half the battery up like that, and then connect one lead of your multimeter to the open end there and the other one there. And okay, so the input jack does need to be plugged in for it to use the battery power supply. Smart, Ibanez, good job. So pretty much the same. Seems to be drawing slightly less off the battery. Basically the same. Okay, and the last thing is just measuring batteries. This is dead simple. We'll go over to DC volts. I've got it on 20 volts max, so you're not going to get more than 20 volts out of a 9-volt battery. And you can do this either way. If you do it the other way around, you'll just get a negative number. So this battery is 9.06 volts left in it. Normally they start around 9.6. So, below 9, pedals do start to sound not their best. So try to always unplug that input jack from the pedal if you're leaving a battery in. But also, I guess, as a lot of people would agree, just try not to use batteries because they can be terrible for the environment, and we don't really have a better solution as of yet. Anyway, I hope that helps. Just a couple of really simple tips. It can be handy to measure current draw on pedals. For example, if we get our big whopping RT20 and we want to make sure, can it run off a 100 milliamp tap on our power supply? So we'll go back to the daisy chain for this one. It does take batteries, I believe. Boss is weird with these pedals with their batteries because they still include batteries with the newer like MD200 and like all the 500 series. So we'll put our multimeter back to milliamps. We know it's going to be below 200. And these ones, I think you do need the input jack connected for it to turn. Oh no, there we go. So only 72 for this one, and it should stay roughly the same, disengaged. Slight increase. Maybe if we increase the rate. Yeah, no change even when it's spinning as fast as it can there. So that will have no problems running off a 100 milliamp tap. Then on the other hand, I'm pretty sure this one is over, but I think it will run anyway. I think this pulls about 115 from memory. Okay, 100. So yeah, on power up, they can be a bit more, and then it will drop down and stabilize around 115. I think that'd be all right on your 100 milliamp tap on most power supplies. Could be good to check with the manufacturer. Anyway, hope that helps. Thanks.